Hey YouTube, it's Lupe again, and kind of going off of the intro video that I just did and posted. I had said that I would talk a little bit about where I stand and kind of how I identify currently, and maybe I'll discuss a little bit how I've kind of identified in the past and such. But as of right now, I know in my intro video I had said that I do identify as a butch lesbian, and I kind of lied. You don't really want to say lied, I guess. It's not really a lie, because I do, but more personally, I identify more as like a gender non-conforming or genderqueer person. I had worked at an LGBT center in the past, and it was a lot easier to be able to identify that way. I have never really been someone who needed to go by, certain pronouns or anything. I've always just kind of gone by whatever pronouns have been thrown at me. I definitely get gendered as male a lot, more often than I feel like I maybe should. I like to think that my face does have some femininity to it, but maybe people just aren't really paying attention, or, they see my clothes. I definitely present more male. I think people, when they know how old I am, then if they had a question whether I was a boy or a girl, it definitely answers it a little bit. But I have noticed, though, when I wasn't working at LGBT Center and just generally socially, it is a lot easier just to identify as a butch lesbian. You hang out in the gay community, I definitely just kind of, I look like a butch lesbian. I date women. It doesn't really bother me at all to identify that way. That's not really my struggle. It's whether or not I'm, a butch lesbian or I'm trans. And it's been a struggle for me that I definitely had it. I used to think about it a lot more when I was younger, and when I did work at the LGBT center that I did. I would get questioned a lot more often. A lot of people, they thought my name was something that I had changed. And I shouldn't say it was Lupe, because I was using would go by my first name, which is gender neutral as well. So it just kind of works out that my entire name is gender neutral. It's suiting for me, I suppose, since I'm not really someone who identifies as necessarily male or female. But someone had actually asked me once, or not asked me, but told me that I had picked a very good gender neutral name, and it was a little bit awkward to kind of tell them that, I'm not trans. That is actually my name. But I can't lie that after I had sat down, I thought about it, and it had kind of made me feel good, and I kind of wanted to tell the person that, I have questioned that before, and, and whatnot, but, so, I definitely identify under, the trans umbrella, if you want to say, but I do socially and stuff, for the most part, identify just as a lesbian, and a more masculine, butch presenting lesbian. I don't really wear anything that's female or anything ever. I actually have really strangely long legs, and girls' clothes just look absolutely ridiculous, but that's not the reason that I don't dress that way. I dress this way because it's more comfortable for me. So, going from there and kind of just how I've kind of always identified and where I'm at now, my thoughts on transitioning seem to kind of come and go. And I think my biggest issue with the whole transitioning question and stuff is I'm really trying to figure out if the questioning is coming from from me, like inside me, or am I just having issues because as far as society and like socially and stuff goes, I don't want to say peer pressured into kind of being trans. I definitely know that some people don't really think about things a lot, and they might not really be trans and they start transitioning and maybe regret it. And I definitely don't want to do that. I'm very comfortable. I shouldn't say very comfortable. I'm pretty comfortable being a butch lesbian. I've got some dysphoria with certain parts of my body. The more feminine parts, of course. But I mean, in general, I'm very happy. So it's not that it's something that really just kind of tears at me and makes me like unhappy and depressed, but I do struggle, and there's definitely moments where I feel better, and there's definitely moments where I will experience some kind of depression. I'd say I experience more anxiety when it comes to my gender and how I identify more than anything. I've always had high anxiety in general as a person, so bad that it's actually caused me to have seizures in the past. So I think that is kind of like my biggest concern with it is I do get very anxious when I think about transitioning and things like that, and I definitely have some fears and concerns with that, which I can talk about in another video. But as far as like my thoughts, I guess you know, things that would make me kind of want to transition is dysphoria for sure. I'm not entirely happy like with my body shape and stuff. I definitely experienced that. I want a more masculine physique and such. I do feel like my face is more feminine than I would like it to be. I don't really feel comfortable when people, you know, notice that I have breasts and such. I definitely wear baggier clothes. I don't have really large boobs, but they are definitely noticeable if you're paying attention. I've binded in the past. I don't anymore right now. I don't really have issues with that. I also, my girlfriend does like my boobs, and I know I might get some kind of crap from that, from maybe some Transman or anything, and that's fine. Think what you want. As much as if I did medically transition, I would totally get rid of them. I would love a male chest, but I can't lie. It would be kind of a little bit sad, I think, for my girlfriend if we were to be together and stuff at the time, or just whatever in general, to maybe part with them, because for boobs, I can't lie, I have pretty nice boobs. Everyone always says it's what a waste for a butch to have boobs like that, but alright, I'll stop talking about my boobs because it's even making me uncomfortable, just because I feel like it's weird that I have them. But I mean, I can go more into detail in other videos where I definitely feel trans, but I think kind of where I want to talk a little bit more also in this video is whether or not, like, those feelings for why I want that and stuff are because I was born male, just in the wrong body, or if it's maybe a lack of people for someone like me to kind of look to. I don't really know how to explain it. I guess I don't really have like a lot of butch lesbian friends that are a lot like me. I have a few, and I had more, but I think I say more because a lot of my friends that used to once identify as butch lesbians are trans and have transitioned, or are transitioning currently, or about to start the process. And I feel like, I'm not kidding, every month one of my friends comes out as transgendered, and I guess maybe that's why it brings me to question things like in spurts. I won't just consistently like be questioning it. I mean, since I was a small child, like, I've thought about it. You know, when I was really little, I would tell people that I had a different name and that I was a boy and shit like that. And I always had short hair. I didn't have long hair until I was a sophomore in high school. And when I graduated, and actually it was the end of my sophomore year, I kind of started growing it out, so it wasn't even really then. And I shaved my head, not a few years later. So I've always been, I was a tomboy and stuff. I'm not really scared that if I was trans, it would be an issue with my family and things. I never really had to come out as being gay. They've always been really supportive, and it was always just kind of known, in a sense, just from how I was growing up. So I really don't think it would be any kind of surprise if I had said, you know, like, I am trans and I do want to transition. So I don't really have family fears. There's fears with you know, potentially would coming out in other situations and settings, but I wouldn't say that it's family related. But not really having a lot of friends that I can really identify and connect with on the same level as me has been difficult. It does make me question when so many of my friends do transition and they're so happy afterwards, and you know, like, it makes me just kind of wonder, and I don't know, like, you know, maybe I'm just not as confident in my skin as I would like to be, or I see that, you know, how much more confident they've become, and maybe I just want to be more confident, and I feel like if I transitioned that could happen. But at the same time, I mean, maybe I don't need to transition. Like, I can definitely just be comfortable, you know, as a butch lesbian, and I need to figure out if that's what's better for me. I mean, there's just not really my type of butch. And I say my type, I don't really know how to explain it, because I'm not really, like, a stud, but I'm also, like, I don't really have a whole lot of super feminine quality. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. I guess maybe you can kind of get to know what I'm talking about through these videos, and as you get to know me, or if you ask questions or whatnot. But just not having a lot of, like, people that I can look up to, and older lesbians that are similar. I've never met a single lesbian over the age of 30 that was even, you know, like me. So, I mean, well, one, I kind of met one, and she's really awesome, and she's, like, 50 years old, but there's still a lot about her that's different that I don't really identify with. We get along definitely very well. She's a great friend of mine, but I don't really feel like I can look up to her as, like, lesbian support, or as, like, that's kind of what I might have to look forward to when I get older. And I don't, maybe it's a generational thing too. You know, lesbians that are older come from a different situation and different time when it's just not as, you know, I don't want to say okay, but it's just not as maybe safe for some people to be more masculine, so they just don't, and then I have gotten heat from some lesbians too for being as butch as I am. I don't know why that's, like, a thing, you know, I don't need to be female, but, so I guess, I mean, ultimately, my question just is, like, am I wanting to transition because so many of my friends are doing the same thing? And I guess actually that just kind of sounded terrible when I just heard myself say that out loud, because I definitely would not just transition because all my friends are transitioning. That would just be really ignorant on my part. I'm definitely old enough to know better. But I guess what I mean to say is a lot of my friends have gone down that road, so it's very visible to me. I know a lot about transitioning. I had to learn a lot about that stuff when I did work at the LGBT center that I did, so I'm very aware, I guess. So I don't know if just because I'm so, like, involved in that community that it kind of pushes me to want to do that, or if it is just truly that, you know, I feel like I need to transition. And that's just kind of what I discuss. I used to go to therapists and stuff. I'm currently not, so I just, maybe in a sense, this is kind of like my own little therapy type of thing. And, you know, feedback is definitely helpful. So yeah, I've made, like, a really long video, probably confusing and stuff, but if you have any questions, you can just let me know. I will do another video here shortly that I'll try to discuss more